it's Danielle from VA Lifestyle Design. Today I have some really exciting news that I wanted to share with you, and also to give you an update on what it's been like the past 3 months traveling, working with family here in Costa Rica. So the first bit of news, my husband Dan and I are currently up in the capital city of Costa Rica in San Jose, and we came up here yesterday at a moment's notice for something very exciting happening, which was my son's new passport arriving. So my 3-year-old son Sean, he was born here in Costa Rica, and we just had approved his Australian citizenship, so we could then get him an Australian passport, so that the whole family is actually traveling on, the same visas, etc. Which means that we were able to book tickets overseas yesterday, and we are heading off to Bali less than a week from now. So we're so excited. We've had the most amazing adventures, the most amazing life-changing experiences here in Costa Rica over the past 5 years, but we've definitely felt, just recently like we're really ready for new adventures as a family. And so that's why we're, excited to be doing that. And for me personally, I feel like a kid on Christmas Eve. I'm like, yeah, so excited. So what I wanted to share with you though is a little bit about as well what it's been like for us being on the road traveling as a family here in Costa Rica, because we had a home base. We've pretty much always had different home bases the whole time we've been here. We've had, our little routine set up. We've got our resources where we get our food, our internet, everything all set up. But what we actually did is in early February, so for the past 3 months, we have been traveling around and changing locations around about every couple of weeks. All different locations. We were up here in the capital city a couple of times in hotels or in Airbnb apartments. Then we've been in smaller little hotels in the local regional areas, or in guest houses of our friends, or we stayed on a farm for a couple of weeks. Different things. We've been changing our scenario, and it has been amazing. It's just been, when you get that sense of novelty and adventure, the kids have just really taken to it and loved all the new adventures. But what I will say is that it has been challenging in terms of our consistent, reliable internet access in traveling in that way so regularly every 2 weeks. So we've always been able to get access to good internet usually that's by driving to a specific cafe or driving to a specific internet cafe where we can work and use their Wi-Fi on our computers. But there's little different things to when you've got your own home set up and you've got your own, high-speed internet that you want, in the sense that, for me personally, when I'm putting in a full day's work, I'm kind of diligent, I guess, about making sure that I work during the day and I save kind of like personal messages and family social media time and study time, all those types of things for the evening. I like to do that in the evening, but a lot of the times the places where we've stayed haven't had that great of connection. So after the work day's finished, there's not so much opportunity to do those types of things. Or, just getting things done. It's more the sense that, okay, well, I go to where I'm going to work where there's high-speed internet, and I, get my work done, etc. Now that's completely awesome, but my personal preference, I really realised, being self-aware and honest, is that I like to have that situation where I've got a lot of flexibility with how I schedule out my work day. I love being able to work outside of the house as an online service provider. I love being able to, go somewhere specifically, but I also love not being obligated to leave the house for internet purposes. So, when we arrive in Bali, our plan is to actually, we're not so much going to be tourists there from the outset. It's very much the plan is to get set up, get into a routine straight away and that kind of thing. So I love location independence, digital nomad, like constant traveling. I will do on a temporary basis. I love it, but having that ability to, keep that enjoyable pace of life with your work schedule, I think has a lot to do about having your resources around you, and that's different for everyone. Of course, we've got 3 kids, so that's a factor that plays into the variables there. It's something I thought I'd mention because I realised that it was totally doable and not really that much of an issue because we have an established business. And I reflected on it because, I'm helping a lot of people through this transition phase of, wanting to get up and running, working online. They might have a career already. Not everyone is traveling, but for people that are interested in doing that, what I found of benefit just reflecting on that was I love that we had, when we first moved to Costa Rica, we had this set house where I made that transition, where I was not only doing my billable time, but I was doing my, skills study, my client outreach, learning new things, getting out of my comfort zone, getting my profile set up, all that kind of thing. Not everyone is the same, but I personally would have found it challenging if I was traveling constantly doing that. I felt like, that startup phase, it needs that ability to have your environment set up around you, not for everyone, of course. That was, my personal experience, just to see if you resonate with any of that. So that's the one thing. Amazing novelty traveling, like to have those resources and that structure set up to get the very most benefit out of the pace of life of this lifestyle with family. Now, what else did I want to share with you? So the kids, traveling around has been awesome for them. They're so excited. They talk about, oh, where are we going next? And, oh, cool, how cool is this new garden we've got, or what have you. They love all the novelty of it. And one of the really interesting things that both Dan and I observed was how necessary nature is for them. Now, I'm not sure whether that's because of the way that, the environment they've been brought up in, or it's their personality, or it's just innate in all of us. And, I'm not sure. But it was black and white clear of how much happier they are having, when we were in locations where they had free reign of, gardens, grassed area, chicken coops, rainforest, whatever it is, as opposed to when we were up here in San Jose and a couple of times in the city, in an apartment or in a hotel. And, from my perspective, I love the city. I love the city almost as much as nature. I appreciate it more now that I don't commute to a city to work in a corporate office, etc. And so I loved it, super high-speed internet, great resources, great cafes, all that kind of thing. And, you would think, okay, well, the kids, they've grown up in the jungle. We were staying with them in a really nice part of the city where there's, fantastic outdoor kids playgrounds, the big cinemas, jumping trampolines, or, go to the shopping mall and there's all these different types of activities going on. And they kind of occupied them for half an hour to an hour at a time, but then we saw them getting frustrated and bored and, Mum, Dad, I want this, I want that. And anyway, they enjoyed it on a surface level, but that real sense of like them just being in their element and running off, doing their own thing, Dan and I not hearing from them for a couple of hours while they're, doing their thing in nature. We really observed that in different environments, in the farm, like I told you, at our friend's guest house, all those types of things. So what I would say there is just, from a parent's perspective, that was really interesting to me. It's not that we're going to avoid, cities altogether, but we just realised how much that affects their mindset and gets them into their element. It was all three of their kids. And once again, I'm sure that's not the same across the board, but it's just an interesting observation that I had travelling. And, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to share with you. I guess the final thing is just sharing that, like, the thing I love about having a flexible career like this is not, now that we're traveling to Bali, I'm probably going to have a couple of days off travel time. I'm probably going to have a couple of slow days, because I'm going to say goodbye to, good friends here in Costa Rica, etc. I'm probably going to have quite a bit of work to catch up on when I get to Bali. I'm very well aware of that. I'm kind of planning it out at the moment. And we've got a hotel booked for the first few days that we arrive in Bali. There's a kids area, there's a great pool, etc. And it's pretty much that we know we're going in there, especially from my perspective, is to get work done. That will be the first 3 days. And, from any other perspective, if you think, oh, I'm going on an international holiday, I can't work. From our perspective, just relocating, it's that whole, like, just having gratitude for having the opportunity to do it that way, for having the opportunity to take a couple of days off, or to take a couple of slow days and go and connect with people that we've formed such strong relationships with here in Costa Rica. I love being able to, the wording that comes to mind is, work the variables in your favor. There's no right or wrong way to do things. There's no like, okay, now I'm on holiday, now I'm working, etc. You can blend it all because you're not attached to this like, oh, I've just got 2 weeks vacation, or I've got to do this now, or you can create your own lead time with projects, with clients and all that kind of thing. So I'm super excited about that. That is just to say I'll be bunkering down working in Bali. But after I've caught up, then of course I will share another update with you and let you know what our experience is like those first couple of weeks we get there. And yeah, look forward to talking to you soon, guys.